The Oscars are approaching, and I want to rank the films nominated for Best Picture, so let's just jump into it. Warning, spoilers. Number 10, Hamnet. Hamnet tells the story of Agnes and William Shakespeare as they fall in love and have to deal with the loss of their child, Hamnet. This is also a pretty hot take for me, because I really do not understand why people love this movie so much. Hamnet, while not being a bad film, feels like a very insincere, Oscar baity kind of movie. This movie doesn't feel like a real movie. I couldn't get past how insincere and hollow it all felt. Every aspect of the film felt like it was designed for the Oscars. Chloe Zhao's directing is good, but not great. Everything feels overblocked, like every shot in this film is supposed to look nice and doesn't feel natural at all. She also takes every aspect of this film so seriously to the point where it felt overdramatic. This movie is an exploration of grief and doesn't do anything interesting or new with this idea. When characters have to face grief and sadness, all they do is just scream and cry. This is like the whole second half of the film. It's not realistic at all, and I just get the impression that we are supposed to be amazed by what we're watching, but the emotions are not interesting. It's just screaming and crying. I've seen this done hundreds of times, and it's all better than what we see in this movie. They do not show any kind of interesting form of grief in this movie. The ending of the film is what truly cements this insincere feeling for me. The main idea of the film that this is about how artists use their art to process and share their grief. It's a great idea to explore because it's true and it's what artists do, except while that's what the film's exploring, it would feel a lot more impactful if that's what the movie actually was, you know what I mean? Without this personal feeling, the movie's emotions fall flat for me and feel like insincere Oscar bait. I don't know how people aren't calling out this movie for being clear Oscar bait. This film is a period piece about one of the most famous people of all time that tries to make the audience cry and is about how powerful art is. Like, come on, man, that's Oscar bait. Jessie Buckley, I'll admit, she is great in the film, but I was still really underwhelmed for her performance because, as I said, her performance is screaming and yelling and crying. It's nothing unique, but she definitely does it well. The way people were describing it, I feel like this is going to be one of the greatest performances of all time, and it just isn't. Paul Mescal, on the other hand, I do not like his performance. I'm really glad he missed the Oscar nomination. He's just doing way too much in this movie. Like the awful writer's block scene where he's just slamming the table, it feels so unnatural, and he's following tantrum. He switched accents like 5 times. There was one delivery which I thought was hilarious in such a serious scene when he's coming back. When he's coming back to the home to find Hamnet dead on the table, he's like, "Who's that?" Such a stupid line. I was trying not to laugh in the theater. Oh my god, managed to hold it in. I love Paul Mescal and After Sun, so I was really disappointed he couldn't give another great performance. Jacoby Loop, who plays Hamnet, was great. I feel like an actual child and is able to handle the dramatic moments very well. Another nitpick, which probably won't affect a lot of people, like general audiences and stuff, but the music during the climactic moment of the film was not original. They used In the Nature of Daylight, which is a great, powerful piece of music, which I have heard millions of times before, and it's used way better in other films such as Arrival. When the music came on, all I could think about was Arrival, and it completely took me out of the film. Something to praise, the production design and costume design was absolutely top tier. The sets in the film felt very detailed, and a recreation of the Globe Theatre was a beautiful set. Hamnet was nominated for a whopping 8 Oscars, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Lead Actress, Best Score, Best Production Design, Best Costume Design, and Best Casting. The only awards I would nominate for would be Best Lead Actress, Costume Design, and Production Design. I really don't feel like it was... I really do not like that it was nominated for Best Score. It wasn't memorable or very unique, and Best Piece of Music wasn't original. Like, June got snubbed last year, even though that the actual original music for that movie was incredible. Everything else I'm fine with, but not what I would personally nominate. Out of the nominations, I predict it will only win Lead Actress, although I hope it wins Production Design, but it stands no chance. Even though I complain about the movie a lot, I'm not saying the movie is bad, I'm just saying these problems are what's holding back from it being a great film from me. 6 out of 10, eh. Number 9, Train Dreams. Train Dreams is based on a novella written by Dennis Johnson about a logger who works on railroads. It's just about him, his family, and how his life is affected by the developing American society in the 20th century. Lots of people love this movie. I lost where I was up to. And I don't want to give the impression that the placing I don't want to give the impression that placing this so low means that I think it's a bad movie, because even though I don't love this film, I still think it's a pretty solid film. I was just unable to connect with the movie, and the main themes explored in this movie are of death, search of meaning, and the passage of time. These ideas are made clear and are very well explored, but personally, as someone who is still pretty young, I'm not fully able to connect with these themes. The technical elements of the film were fantastic. The cinematography is beautiful and focused on natural lighting, which fits with how important nature is in the film. It's beautiful to look at. It also looks so perfect, and it kind of gives the film like this dreamlike feeling. Very melancholic, dreamy movie. The directing by Clint Bentley is pretty good. He structured the film very well, but I feel like there's something missing from the directing. Not really sure what, but je ne sais quoi, as they say in France, which could have improved the film a little bit. Joel Edgerton is great in this very melancholic and sad performance. He has a calming sense to him, and you can really feel what he's going through. William H. Macy is also great in the movie, very short role. I love his performance. It's kind of weird seeing him play just a normal person. I'm a big William H. Macy guy, and I usually feel like his characters are always a little silly, so it's great to see him play a straight, serious role. Something which I really didn't like in this film was the narration. I thought it was doing way too much, very unsubtle, doesn't reveal anything interesting. The film feels like it's relying on the narration to tell the audience what to think during the second half of the film. I just wanted the narrator to just shut up so I could get more invested in the environment. My other problem was that the ending just didn't really click for me. It didn't leave me feeling much impact, and I feel like maybe that could have been the narration taken away from me, but I don't know. Still, pretty good. Anyway, Train Dreams was nominated for 4 Oscars: Best Picture, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Cinematography, and Best Original Song. I feel like these are all very fair nominations. Probably the nominations that I would have it up for as well. Also, got to give shout out to that original song. If you haven't listened to it, listen to it. Kind of a banger, I gotta say. Unfortunately, I predict that Train Dreams will win 0 Oscars, and I will not pick it to win anything either. Still, even if I couldn't completely connect with the movie, it's still hard to deny that's a pretty good film. 7 out of 10. Number 8, Frankenstein. Guillermo del Toro's adaptation of Mary Shelley's iconic novel tells the story of Victor Frankenstein, who sets out to make his ultimate creation, defying the gods and bring the dead back to life, an experiment which will cause his downfall. I think this movie is great. A lot of people have some very fair criticisms of this movie, but they really get blown out of proportion in my opinion, and people for some reason started to treat this movie like it sucks when initially when it came out. People were saying it was great, but then immediately some people criticized it, and like 1-2 weeks later, everyone's just saying, nah, this movie sucks. Which I think is crazy. I think y'all need to shut your mouths. How dare these people have a different opinion than me? Do you know who I am? I'm absolute Kino, baby. I don't have wrong opinions. God, the audacity of other people, man. Anyway, I'm sure you've heard the complaints of the CGI in this film is awful and very distracting, which I do completely agree with. Those wolves are awful, and I can't believe a company like Netflix couldn't spend more money on visual effects. There's some awkward dialogue in this film, such as the infamous "You are the monster" quote, which removes any subtext and is a pretty corny line. But once again, these small problems do not ruin the movie for me. Just because the movie had some bad lines, and it doesn't mean the movie sucks. You are ignoring so many great aspects of the film just because it has some cringy dialogue. What makes this film great for me is the immersive setting of the film and the world, which Guillermo del Toro was able to achieve with his fantastic directing. I think the best directing that's seen in the movie for me has to obviously be that rebirth scene, the scale of what we are watching, the mounting tension, the very well crafted scene. The horror elements of the film worked well. It doesn't focus on the horror, but the scenes involving Victor and the creature had some genuine tension to them. There are some amazing moments of practical cool effects in the film, such as the first undead body Victor brings to life. Obviously, the makeup in this film is extraordinary. The set design and environment is beautiful. Jacob Elordi playing Frankenstein's creature is incredible in this film, and I'm seeing a lot of people trying to discredit his performance as nothing special, and I just have to say that those people are crazy. Elordi had one of the best performances of the year. Most of what he's doing so well is in physical acting, especially in his early scenes when Victor is keeping him locked up. There are moments in this film where, based on how he moved and acted, I genuinely forgot that I was even watching an actor. I felt like I was watching an animal. It was unreal what he was doing, especially in the early parts before he could even start talking. I feel like a lot of people look at performances as just like similar to why everyone thinks Jessie Buckley's amazing, which she is. She's great in the movie, but it's just yelling and screaming, and they think that's what makes great acting. For me, disappearing into a character and really becoming a character is what I think is amazing about acting. I think that's what Jacob Elordi was really able to do in his performance in this film. Also, the farm section in this movie was great. I think it's a pretty crucial part of the book, and I'm glad that Del Toro included it in this film. A lot of people criticize the movie from differing from the original book, and I really do not understand this criticism. Frankenstein has been adapted so many times, and I feel like why can't... And most of the adaptations aren't accurate anyway. Like, one of the most famous movies of all time, the original Frankenstein, horribly inaccurate, horrible adaptation. If we're comparing it to that, this is such a better adaptation. I feel like it's really took some of the best parts of the novel and put it into this film. It's very well made, very well directed. I think as far as Frankenstein adaptations go, this is actually one of the most accurate of the adaptations of the book, and it's also one of the best adaptations. Obviously, I don't think this is a perfect movie. Besides the criticisms I already mentioned, I think the film is a little too long, and you could have cut out some of the first half of the movie to make the film tighter. I think while I like what the ending was saying, it really wraps up too easily and quickly after so much build-up. The cinematography of the film is interesting, as someone who sometimes it looks beautiful, but it tries to stay this way throughout the film, and it doesn't work. The whole movie has this floating camera effect. Without using more creative camera angles, it gives the film the same tone cinematography-wise throughout the whole film. Many scenes would have been benefited from not having the floating camera effect. Frankenstein was nominated for 9 Oscars, including Best Picture, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Supporting Actor, Best Cinematography, Best Score, Best Sound, Best Makeup, Best Production Design, and Best Costume Design. I do not think it should be nominated for the screenplay, because of all those corny lines. I think it's much more of a directorial achievement than a written achievement. The cinematography nomination isn't deserved for reasons I've already mentioned. The score nomination really disappoints me because the score for this film is not really special or memorable in any way. Andrew Desplat, I believe his name is, he's had so many better scores. Really, we're going to nominate him for this one as well. The other nominations I'm fine with. Out of the 9 nominations, I'll predict it will win 3 Oscars, Best Production Design, Best Costume Design, and Best Makeup. And I would also award it those same awards. Frankenstein, while having flaws, is still a great movie. It's just a little too long. 8 out of 10. F1 tells the story of Sonny Hayes, a former Formula 1 driver who comes out of retirement to drive for the bottom-ranked team in the Formula 1 Apex GP as a favor for his old friend. Let's get out of the way. This movie probably should not have been nominated for Best Picture. It was Jackson Axon is sitting right there. It's an amazing film, and it should have taken its place. But at the end of the day, it isn't a big deal. It's just a nomination. And F1 is still a very fun movie, in my opinion. The story of the film is nothing special. You've seen it in most sports films, but this is a very generic film. But it's also a very well-made film. The technical elements of this movie are executed very well. The cinematography in this film is very addicting. It's all edited together to create some amazing sequences. Every race scene in this film is so much fun. The score for the film by Hans Zimmer is amazing. It's a great techno vibe. I've honestly listened to the score for this film a lot, and I wish it was nominated instead of Frankenstein's score. Joseph Kosinski kind of directs the shit out of this movie, in my opinion, and creates such an immersive experience. What Joseph Kosinski pulls off, in my opinion, is blockbuster directing at its finest. He's not like an auteur or anything, but he's able to effectively craft the film to create great cinematic experience, which you should expect out of top-tier blockbusters. Also love the behind-the-scenes stuff in this film. It's been very fun to watch some of that and how much of it was filmed with real F1 drivers. Obviously, I cannot forget that this film is just a fun, generic, predictable sports blockbuster, which is what the movie is supposed to be, so I can't really be too mad about it. This movie is in no way a Best Picture player film, and that's kind of why I can't be mad about the nomination, because it isn't an Oscar bait, shitty movie. It's just an enjoyable film, which enough voters liked enough to vote for it to be in Best Picture. Some people are trying to push this as an Oscar villain, but I think that's very unfair to people behind the movie. The Maestro was an Oscar bait film for frustrating over-the-top campaign by Bradley Cooper. Meet the Prez was a terrible film which was made by some very evil, racist people. F1 is just a fun movie. It's not a villain just because the Academy decided to nominate it. F1 hasn't done anything like being racist or obnoxious to deserve the hate. To to be an Oscar villain. Just let the Academy have their fun with this sports blockbuster, okay? Anyway, F1 was nominated for 4 Oscars, including Best Picture, Best Editing, Best Sound, and Best Visual Effects. I think these are all reasonable nominations, although I was nominated for score as well. I predict F1 will only win 1 Oscar, that being Best Sound. F1, if I haven't made it clear in my stance, is a fun blockbuster that is very well made despite having a generic story. 8 out of 10. Number 6, Sentimental Value. Joachim Trier's Sentimental Value is a powerful story of an estranged family, with the father of a renowned director who wishes to cast his daughter in what he believes will be his comeback film. The main thing that makes this movie so incredible is the performances. Renee Rainsby is the main daughter. She's incredible. A layered emotional performance. She showcases a wide range of emotions and you can really feel her inner turmoil. Stellan Skarsgård playing the father is great as he shows a serious, artful side to his character. You get the feeling of him as someone who puts deep personal meaning into what he does. He feels like he is vulnerable but uses his art as a way to indirectly explore his vulnerability. Inga Ipstad-Lilias is great, very subtle and emotional performance. Elle Fanning I thought was fantastic. She disappeared into his character and I thought she brought a great change to the dynamic. Being an outsider of the family, I feel like I truly believe that every actor in this film was a real person. I could not see their through their performances at all. This film is an exploration of generational trauma. This is best explored in the scene showing the history of the house, which I thought was a wonderful and my favorite scene from the movie, as well as the exploration of power of art, which it looks at in a much more subtle and interesting way than Hamnet, which just forced this idea down your throat. Joachim Trier's directing was great as he brought the best out of the actors. His directing wasn't very stylish, but every scene was well crafted and beautifully shot. Also feel like the score is going kind of unpraised because it is in your face. It's a subtle score, but it is quite beautiful. Sentimental Value is nominated for 9 Oscars, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, Best Lead Actress, Best Supporting Actress, both Elle Fanning and Inga Ipstad-Lilias, Best Supporting Actor, Best Editing, Best International Feature Film. These all deserve nominations, even though I think Skarsgård was definitely in lead performance. I predict Sentimental Value will only win Best International Feature Film. If it was up to me, it would also be winning... Well, would not win International Film, that it was just an accident. But this movie would win Best Lead Actress and Best Supporting Actress for Elle Fanning. Sentimental Value is a great, powerful story, 8 out of 10. Number 5, Begonia. Yorgos Lanthimos' latest film, Begonia, tells the story of Teddy, a conspiracy theorist who, along with his brother, kidnapped the CEO of a major company because they believe she is really an alien intent on destroying the Earth. It is important to say that the movie is also a remake of a Korean film called Save the Green Planet, which I have not seen. This is another great film, but not one of Yorgos Lanthimos' best films in my opinion. I love how simple the film is. It's just a back and forth dialogue and performance-driven film, and it's all done very well. Despite the small scale, this is still a very thrilling film. The story has many shocking twists, and the whole film is focused on presenting to the audience these conflicting ideas of whether or not she's an alien. The audience is a decider on the ethical boundaries, where it challenges our concept of morality behind the characters and their actions, which is very well explored in this film. It's a well-directed film, but is lacking on the scale that we usually see from Yorgos, who I would describe as an evil Wes Anderson. I do wish he put some more of his unique, crafted presentation of the film to make it more unique. Still well-directed, even with the limited space, we feel like we gain a proper idea of the environment. The film is shot in this interesting way. Yorgos, I think, really understands how to shock the audience. Some of the moments in this film feel truly shocking and disturbing in ways where for most other filmmakers will not be able to get that same effect from me. And of course, he's able to get the absolute best out of his actors. Drafting is definitely the strongest part of the film, the performances. Emma Stone playing Michelle, who was nominated, she delivers this corporate, entitled performance with this hidden intensity behind her. Jesse Plemons playing Teddy is incredible, and I should be in contention for winning, but he was unfortunately snubbed. He brings a great dark tone with hidden vulnerability, and he truly feels like an insane man in the film. Like you genuinely feel afraid of him in certain parts of the film. Aidan Delbeze playing Don, who also maybe should have been nominated, plays Plem's autistic brother, much more innocent performance, was kind of the audience viewpoint. And how could I not forget the best performance of the film from Stavros playing Casey, who just dominates with his screen presence and oozes charisma we haven't seen since Ocean's 11. Just a magnificent performance. Thematically, I really love how the film explores Teddy's upbringing and what the causes that lead to people like Teddy. doing dangerous things in conspiracy sessions. Teddy's character was very relevant to people today, and I think it's really well explored and feels very authentic. It's also very much a critique of capitalism, work culture, the working bee doing everything for the queen, a great breakdown of the alienation and disconnect between workers and people in power. This is far from a perfect film for me. Sometimes the pacing feels a little too repetitive, sometimes they're just going around in circles and I'm waiting for something to happen. The humor didn't really work for me completely. I thought it was funny sometimes, but not really to the extent that I've heard some other people praising the movie for being. Begonia was nominated for 4 Oscars, including Best Picture, Best Actress, Best Adapted Screenplay, and Best Original Score. These are all deserving nominations. I was very happy that it was nominated for the score. It feels very unique and brings epic tone to the film. I think Jesse Plemons should have gotten a nomination, but other than that, I think these nominations are pretty fair. I predict Begonia will not win anything, and I do not pick it for anything. Begonia is a great, well-acted film, thematically relevant to today, 8 out of 10. Number 4, The Secret Agent. Kleber Mendonca's Filho's The Secret Agent is set in Brazil in 1977 under military regime. A man named Armando escapes to Sao Paulo, attempting to start a new life, but this doesn't happen easily as he begins to face pressures from law enforcement and hired killers. This is a brilliant and intense film, largely carried by an incredible performance, very nuanced performance by Wagner Moura. He shows heavy emotional depth while still keeping his strong persona. The whole film, in fact, is very subtle, which adds to suspense and tension. It's not a thriller where you are met with action scene after action scene. It's a long drawn out and keeps you wondering what's going to happen next. I really love the atmosphere of the film, brought on by the setting, both the time period and the location gives this film this gritty vibe. This film shows style in a very strong way and is edited together very well to create a compelling story. If I had to fault the movie, it would simply be length, because this film is 2 hours and 40 minutes and you can feel it. It's a slow-paced film, which does add suspense, but sometimes you just want it to move along a little more. The Secret Agent is nominated for 4 Oscars, including Best Picture, Best Lead Actor, Best Casting, and Best International Film. I don't predict it will win anything, and I will not pick The Secret Agent to win anything. Still a great film, just a little too long. 9 out of 10. Number 3, Marty Supreme. Josh Safdie's film about a young, ambitious ping pong player named Marty Mauser, who is willing to do whatever it takes to prove his greatness to the world. This film was a wild, unpredictable ride that quickly sets up this movie as a sports film before flipping into a crime hustle story, then returning to be a sports film. And switches in genre are done seamlessly and feel very natural. The long middle section of the film is just a constant barrage of chaos and intensity that you would expect from a Safdie movie. The energy in this movie feels so addicting, like I genuinely want to inject this movie into my veins. The main reason why I love this film is because I think Marty Mauser is the best and most complicated character of the year, and it's brought to life by Timothée Chalamet in what, in my opinion, is the best lead performance of the year. Every aspect of the film falls back onto Marty's character. The whole meaning of the film and Marty's character hinges on the final scene of the film. What initially seems like a very straightforward ending, I've seen so many different interpretations of the final scene, and it kind of feels like a Rorschach test with the way people will see the endings, how you view the overall themes of the movie. Personally, my interpretation of the ending is Marty realizing that he has a greater responsibility in this world. The whole movie he's talking about his purpose to be the greatest ping pong player, and from his viewpoint, he has achieved this, but now he comes back and sees his child, and he realizes that being a father is now his purpose. And we sing the song lyrics, "Welcome to your life." Banger. This is a movie about being overambitious and having to accept who you are. It's a movie about growing up and becoming an adult. So many people criticize Marty, and rightfully so. He's a narcissist who only cares about his own interests. But this doesn't mean that he's just a straight up awful person. He's a redeemable character, and whole world is shifting now, and he will have to find the redemption through his new life as being a father. The score for the film is also fantastic and completely robbed of nomination. I've listened to this movie score so much since seeing it. It's incredible. It has this kind of magical, dreamy feeling, which also has this very strong layer of intensity. The needle drops are also fantastic. Forever Young playing at the start and ending of the film with Everybody Wants to Rule the World. Just absolutely perfect. In this case, one of my favorite endings of the year. I love the dialogue in this movie so much. It feels so unique and creative, so amazing. I'm gonna do to Kletsky what Auschwitz couldn't. Finish the job. That had people in my theater gasping. It was crazy. The whole vampire speech from Kevin O'Leary is so bizarre. Him trying to intimidate Marty, but Marty just doesn't care anymore. It's so good. Marty Supreme was nominated for 9 Oscars, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, Best Lead Actor, Best Casting, Best Costume Design, Best Cinematography, Best Production Design, and Best Film Editing. These nominations all deserved, but if it's up to me, I would have also included Best Score and Best Supporting Actress for Odessa Zion, who I didn't even mention in my review, but she was great. I predict Marty Supreme will win only Best Lead Actor for Timothée Chalamet, but if it's up to me, I probably would give it Original Screenplay as well. Because of this film's script, it felt like watching the most complicated, high-wire juggling act, and I think there's no way they can juggle all of that, and then they do it perfectly, and I'm just left in bewilderment. Marty Supreme is an incredibly intense and fun film. It gets a 9 out of 10. Number 2, Sinners. Ryan Coogler's Sinners tells the story of twin brothers Smoke and Stack, who return to their hometown in 1930s Mississippi to open up a new bar. But on a grand opening night, vampires arrive to spoil the occasion. We've been talking about this movie all year since it came out of nowhere to take the movie world by storm back in April. It's just a fantastic, incredibly well-made blockbuster. I've already talked about the film before. I have a review up on my channel, so go check that out. So I won't go into too much detail on this movie. But I do want to talk about my interpretation of the film, since I barely touched on it in my review. So many people are just summing up the movie as a racism is bad story, but it's so much deeper than that. This film not just about racism, but more specifically about assimilation of culture. This is seen mainly in 2 different ways, most obvious being the group of vampires who want to make Sam a part of their group. The vampires' main goals are to turn everybody into one hive mind, taking away their culture and turning them into the culture that Remick wants. This is clear when we compare the 2 great musical sequences of the film. We watched Sammy's performance celebrating black culture and music in a hypnotizing scene that made sure the pride and history of these people and their culture. Not too long after this, we see these same people who are just celebrating their black culture having to do the river dance performing the Remick's Irish music, and because he's converted and assimilated them into his culture. This is a clearly contrast with the religious aspect of the film. Sammy's father does not support Sammy's music aspirations and wants Sammy to give it up and focus on Christianity. Christianity has infamously across history wanted to spread the message and assimilate other cultures, whereas Sammy's father and Remick want Sammy to give up on his culture and be assimilated in the person that they want him to be. It is also very much worthy of pointing out that Remick himself was a victim of religious assimilation. As Remick was about to kill Sammy near the end of the film, Sammy begins to recite the Our Father, which stops Remick and he tells Sammy how these words were forced upon him. Remick being Irish man, this shows his extreme age, that he was also had a culture that was taken away from him thanks to Christianity, which adds to the layers of him wanting to assimilate others into his own culture to celebrate what he once had. Anyway, Sinners has been nominated for a record-shattering 16 nominations, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, Best Lead Actor, Best Supporting Actor Delroy Lindo, Best Supporting Actor Wunmi Masaka, Best Cinematography, Best Score, Best Original Song, Best Casting, Best Editing, Best Makeup, Best Visual Effects, Best Sound, Best Production Design, and Best Costume Design. Do I think these nominations are all deserved? No, not at all. I don't hate it. I don't hate that it broke the record, but in my opinion, Wunmi Masaka's performance wasn't that incredible. I don't think she should have been nominated. Visual effects, I think, is a ridiculous nomination, but I guess they were impressed by 2 Michael B. Jordans. And personally, I would have nominated Delroy Lindo, but that's only because I thought Jack O'Connell gave the better performance. I still think his nomination is deserving, but I just wouldn't have nominated him personally. But both films were great, and I'm glad it wasn't Paul Mescal. I predict Sinners will win 4 Oscars: Best Original Screenplay, Best Casting, Best Original Score, and Best Cinematography. If it were up to me, it would only win Score and Casting. Still, not undeserved wins. Sinners is an incredible blockbuster that is also very well crafted with an amazing vision from Ryan Coogler. Sinners gets a 10 out of 10. Number 1. One Battle After Another. Without a doubt in my mind, this is the easy pick for Best Picture. Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another tells the story of a former revolutionary named Bob Ferguson who comes under the threat of his former nemesis Stephen Lockjaw, who is trying to hunt him down, and his daughter Willa. This film is a masterpiece in pretty much every aspect of filmmaking. The directing, acting, score, cinematography, editing, costume design, sound design, it's all done to an extreme level of quality. I'd even go as far to say this is one of the best edited films of all time. It is unreal. It's an almost 3 hour movie without a moment wasted and absolutely flies past you. Unreal pace. I'm not going to talk too much about this movie as well because I've already had a review talking about this movie, as well as I am planning on making a Paul Thomas Anderson ranking, which should come out in 1 to 2 weeks, so stay tuned for that. I will say that I think even beyond the masterpiece quality of the film, the movie's themes and plot points are so relevant to what our world is to date, I feel like it would be ridiculous not to award the film, as it's able to perfectly show some of the worst parts about society, and still having you coming out of the theatre feeling hope for a future. The effect that this movie had on you is just indescribable. Had on us is the effect this movie has had is indescribable. One Battle After Another is nominated for 13 Oscars, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Lead Actor, Best Supporting Actress for Tiana Taylor, Best Supporting Actor Sean Penn and Benicio del Toro, Best Casting, Best Editing, Best Cinematography, Best Score, Best Sound, Best Production Design, and that's it. These are all worthy nominations. If it's up to me, I would also nominate it for Costume Design, because everyone's costumes feel so distinct and memorable. Already Bob's bathrobe is becoming kind of iconic. I predict One Battle After Another will win 6 Oscars: Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Editing, Best Supporting Actor Sean Penn, and Best Supporting Actress for Tiana Taylor. But if it's up to me, it would win the aforementioned, not including Tiana Taylor, but would also win Cinematography and Best Sound. One Battle After Another is a once-in-a-generation masterpiece that is incredibly relevant to today's society. I would think it would be insane if this film isn't chosen as Best Picture at this year's Oscars. 10 out of 10. That's it. That's all I have to say. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Peace. Bye-bye.